we think there's something wrong with us when I would argue there isn't. There's nothing wrong with you.
Oh, in a full year, and that lets you save. Who cares?
Welcome to a brand new edition of Ageless Energy, where we talk about how to burn fat, increase energy, and balance hormones for women over 40. Over the past 20 years as a performance coach, I've worked with hundreds of women that have the exact same struggles you do. I hope to shine some light with this podcast on what can be the most challenging time of your life and let you know there is hope to find success with your health and what you're looking for. Please share and enjoy.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another Ageless Energy show. Or if this is your first time, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Today, we're talking about brain fog, mental clarity, cognitive function, brain health in general. And if you're not sure who I am, my name is Drew Tadia, founder and CEO of True Form Life. And for the last 20 years, we've been helping women 40 plus increase energy, burn body fat, and balance hormones. So that sounds like you. You're in the right place. Today is all about brain health, like I mentioned. And those that don't know, I think most of you do know, but if you don't, or if you're newer here, we have two branches of our business. We have our supplement side and then we have our coaching side, and they intertwine or connect quite closely in most cases. But I don't talk about our supplements all that often, which is kind of odd, right? So I thought, why don't we talk about specific supplements in particular based around brain health that can improve cognitive function, which I think is super important, especially as we age. I feel like our brains are so important. And often I hear from women in this age group that they have so much going on, it's hard to focus. Everyone thinks they have ADD, or I think they call it ADHD now. And, it's a difficult place to be in because we think there's something wrong with us when I would argue there isn't. I would just say that, here's the thing, I had this conversation with one of our members and they said something along the lines of, I was like, got so much going on, I'm all stressed out, I go see the doctor and they want to put me on these like ADD meds, right, to help me focus. And I'm like, so then they explained to me like what's going on, and I'm like, there's nothing wrong with you. They explained a few things like, I don't know what you would call symptoms. And I was like, that's life. That is how we are today. There's so much information. I always say, like, I don't think I made this up, but there's so much information and a lack of implementation. There's so much information. There's over information, which causes us to be stagnant and frozen. And we don't actually take action towards anything. And that's a problem. So let's at least open up this conversation. There's probably nothing wrong with you. And there's a few little things that you can tweak or change and adjust to improve your lifestyle as a whole that will make a big difference. In this case, to improve brain health. And like I said, I think that is super important. As we age, we can thrive instead of just survive. I really dislike accepting things that are happening in our life that are just happening because of age. Oh, age, we'll catch up to you. I can't stand that. It's just a mindset. And a lot of times we have that belief of just accepting things like our health failing in different ways because of our age. And I feel like that has a very small, don't get me wrong, of course, things happen as we age, but I also feel like there's a lot of really healthy older people that are much healthier than those that don't take care of their health, that don't proper supplement, or they're not active or eat well. So that's kind of what I want to talk about today. So feel free to jump in and ask questions if you like. The first one I want to talk about is Magtin. So this Magtin in particular is called magnesium threonate. Now, this is the only magnesium that can break the blood-brain barrier, which is why I think, it's certainly easily one of the best magnesiums that you can purchase. Now, there's a number of different magnesium. That's important. That's important to understand because often I'll talk to someone and they'll say, hey, tell me about your magnesium, or I heard you have magnesium. I've been taking magnesium for years. I'm like, okay, well, what kind of magnesium are you taking? And they're like, I don't know, the one I found on the shelf, right? So there are a number of different magnesiums and they all serve a different purpose. So I think, first of all, that's important to understand. And then deciding why you're taking magnesium. And hopefully it's not because someone told you to, you heard you should, maybe your doctor tells you it might be a good idea, or you found it on the discount rack at the pharmacy. Probably not all great reasons to jump into magnesium. Without a doubt, one of the most important minerals you can put in your body. I would say it's probably number one. There's some close seconds like zinc zinc and D plus K2, but that's for a different subject. For cognitive function in particular, many of us are deal with the brain fog, whether that's later in the day or it's been a stressful week or a stressful month, and we feel like we can't focus and we're not able to. We just don't have the mental clarity to make the decisions we'd like to on a regular basis. So that's why we use Magtin on a daily basis. Now, if you look at other forms of magnesium, they're great for different purposes. Like different magnesiums are great for digestion. Like magnesium glycinate is a bit better for digestion. Magnesium chloride is a bit better for muscle, like sore muscles, for example. But if you're looking at cognitive function in particular, brain health, mood, anxiety, depression, you should be looking at magnesium threonate. So that is the first supplement I want to mention. These are not all created equally. Our Magtin, those of you that aren't watching, you may be listening as a podcast. I'm holding up our particular brand of Magtin, but this is pure 100% magnesium. I would challenge you, or at least suggest that you read the ingredients when you're looking at any supplements. But in particular, I'm talking about this one here. I've found very few that are pure Magtin or magnesium threonate. Most have additives and fillers, and we have a whole PDF of all the ingredients that I suggest staying away from when you're looking at ingredients before you buy. So before you buy a supplement, you should read the ingredients, and I have a PDF of a list of 10 different ingredients that I highly recommend staying away from because they're detrimental to our health. So when you're looking at other Magtin types of supplements, read the ingredients. Most of them will have other ingredients in there, often ones that you don't want to be consuming. This one here it dissolves in a liquid almost instantly. So this is a powder, and there's no taste and there's no smell. So you can add it to water. I don't know if I'd suggest adding it to juice. Like, I'm not a big juice fan, or wouldn't recommend juice very often, but you could add it to juice if you like. We add it to kombucha. There's a lot of different ways. You can the easiest way is just to add it to water. But so we have this in the afternoon at around 2:00 with more of a concoction with our second dose of vitamin D plus K2, zinc, and then spirulina tabs, which I'm going to talk about here in a second. So let me know if there's any questions with the Magtin in particular, but just consider how many people are dealing with different types of mood, anxiety in particular. Depression seems like an all-time high. It seems like the world is always falling apart. Doesn't matter what's going on. There's always politicians and mass media seeming to be tearing us apart. So I think that taking care of yourself, taking care of your mental health, properly supplementing with proper supplements is certainly a good idea. So I would start with magnesium threonate on a regular basis. So you can start with a half a teaspoon every single day, and then you can build from there. So if you're more stressed out, for example, you can have more, like I'm talking about mentally stressed, you can add in more magnesium threonate. You can have it more than once a day. A lot of times people use this for sleep in particular because magnesium in general is a relaxant. So it can help relax your muscles. It helps relax your intestines, which is why it's good for constipation. There's a lot of different benefits to magnesium in particular, but magnesium threonate is definitely something that you guys should consider using. Okay, I'm going to jump over to brain fuel. Kind of crazy. I'm talking about brain fuel and our brain health conversation today. So if you're not sure what we labeled or what we branded our brain fuel is, it's actually MCT oil. So it's important to understand that all MCT oils are not created equally. So if you're not sure what MCT oil is, it's medium chain triglyceride. It's a fat that digests differently or absorbs or reacts differently in our body. There's different types of fats that react differently in our body. And a lot of times there's a lot of confusion around fats in particular. I will just say that to keep that part of this conversation short is that this is a healthy fat that your body needs, more particularly for brain function, which is why it's called brain fuel. So it's important to understand that there's different types of carbons when it comes to MCT oil. So I know this gets like a little bit scientific-y, which is boring to a lot of people, but I feel like it's worth mentioning. So there is a C8, C6, C8, C10, and C12. C6 isn't really produced. The taste and smell is a bit much for a lot of people, so they don't really market it. Can't really buy the C6. C8 is the one that you're looking for. It's caprylic acid, which I'm talking about right now. Then you can look at C10 and C12. It's not that there's something wrong with those carbons in particular. It just doesn't offer the benefits that you're wanting or hoping for when people are talking about the benefits of MCT oil. So when people are talking about the benefits of MCT oil, they're mostly talking about caprylic acid, which is C8. So this is really hard to find. So a lot of times people just go to Costco, or they go to their closest pharmacy and they just grab MCT oil and they grab that. And that's a problem because I feel like there's lack of knowledge around the industry. First of all, they try to water down the C8 with the 10 and 12. So sometimes you'll see percentages. If you look at the back of the bottle, it'll say 5% C8 or 5% caprylic acid, and then it'll say 25% C10, and then whatever the remaining percent is C12. Or sometimes there's no C8 in there at all. It's just 10 and 12. And that, again, that's okay. It just doesn't offer the benefits that you're hoping for that you'll get with the C8, which is why it's so important that you read ingredients and you look for caprylic acid in particular. And that is the mental. So what C8 does is it offers ketones, which changes into energy, or which converts into energy to help mental clarity. A lot of times, like if you look at the keto world or if you look at the fasting world, they're really into MCT oil because they use fats as energy. Now, you can use fats as energy. We also suggest using complex carbohydrates as energy and having a well-balanced macro diet. That's where we've found the most benefits. But it's important to understand that where those are coming from and how those are turning, how the nutrients you're putting in your body are turning into energy. I'm going to talk about this in another time, but I feel like most people lack energy because of the lack of nutrients that they're, I would say, putting in their body, but in this case, not putting in their body. So if you're looking at MCT oil in particular, make sure that you're staying away from, oh my gosh, how did it just disappear from my brain? Speaking of brain health, palm oil. You want to stay away from palm oil. So palm oil is considered MCT oil, but palm oil they process it at such high temperatures, it becomes rancid once it hits your body. So you're putting a rancid oil in your body, very similar to your seed oils like canola oil, grapeseed oil, cottonseed oil. Those types are usually like you're looking at Crisco, like vegetable oil, that's rancid. So they come in clear plastic containers. Those are rancid on the shelf. The sunlight directly damages the properties of the healthy fats, which then damages your body, ruins your gut bacteria, destroys your joints, etc. So if you're looking for a brain fuel in particular, or a high quality oil that can help, like this will help burn body fat. It will help kind of the good fats eat the bad fats. It'll help with joint health. And then more specifically, brain health. Again, this is fantastic for mood, energy, and then other cognitive functions like anxiety, depression, etc. Just think about your brain getting a bunch of nutrients when it's lacking. I feel like when we talk about cognitive types of issues, I feel like it's almost like a dry brain that's lacking nutrients, and we need to fuel it and hydrate it and fill it up with all the good things that our brains need to function properly. And I think that's interesting because our brain is everything, right? And we don't necessarily give it the nutrients it needs on a regular basis. So I feel like that's definitely something that we should consider when we're looking at overall health.
One of the things I would like to ask of you guys is that some of you know that I don't run ads on the show and don't plan on in the immediate future. So the only ask I have for you is that you help us spread the word so we can help more women burn body fat, increase energy, and balance their hormones. And the only way that we can do that is if you can rate and review this podcast. So the single thing that I could have you do or could ask of you is to leave a review. It'll take 5 minutes or one swipe of the thumb. It would mean the absolute world to me. And more importantly, you could change the world for someone else. As many of you know, there's plenty of women that struggle in this age group for balancing hormones, increasing energy, and burning body fat. So if you could help spread the word, that would make a big difference in our life and probably someone else's as well.
So let me know if that's clear enough about your MCT oil. I think a lot of times people are like, what? And then a lot of times we hear like, oh, I say, oh, have you tried your MCT oil yet? They're like, oh, I'm waiting to use my other oils before I start it yet. I hear that same thing. Like, I feel like that's the same conversation in people's brains that I hear with like protein. Like, oh, I'm going to order your protein. I just want to finish mine yet. And that's okay. I'm just saying, like, this isn't particularly, it's not a supplement. It's an oil. So it'll replace your, whatever oil you're using. Like, it could replace your olive oil, for example. We put this in particular, you could put this in your tea. I put in my tea in the morning. A lot of keto fans, they'll put it in their coffee in the morning to offer an extra boost of brain function, right? And an extra boost of energy. So there's a lot of different uses. We put it on, you can drizzle it on popcorn. You can put it on a salad. You can put it on a stir fry. You want to cook with this on low temperatures and use it on a regular basis. If it's like sitting in the cupboard for months, you never really use it, it's certainly a waste of time. It's a waste of money, and it's not going to offer any benefits for you. So I would suggest keeping it on the counter. It doesn't need to be in the fridge, and sometimes, and it's liquid at room temperature. Some of those coconut oils you look at, they are solid and hard. Usually the white coconut, that's a little bit different type of product. When you look at a coconut oil in particular, I would look at like these carbons or the extractions of the full coconut, or when you have the white solid coconut oil, I consider that more of like the full load. You got to get everything in particular, but when you get the extractions out like this, you get more of a concentrated dose, which offers an elevated boost of benefits. Ours in particular is organic and one single ingredient, pure C8. And then our coconuts actually come from Sri Lanka. I think it's pretty cool. They call this a Canadian product because it's imported by a manufacturer who we work with, and it's packaged here in Canada. Obviously, we don't grow coconuts, so it's pretty hard to get coconut grown MCT oil. The last one I'm going to mention is spirulina. So spirulina for mental health in particular is fantastic because I feel like we're often drained, and the first thing that seems to go is our brain, our mind, our memory. And I think we all know what it's like to not have anything left, whether I said this at the beginning, but not anything left, whether that's at the end of a long day or at the end of a long week, a long month, quarter, year, whatever it is. He's like, we're so drained in so many different ways. And if you put proper nutrients in your body on a regular basis, like spirulina, you're going to have that continual boost of energy and mental function that we all need. This one has over 40 vitamins and minerals. Some of you may have heard me talk about not being such a fan of multivitamins. I would consider these more multivitamins. So spirulina this is one single ingredient. These are grown in fresh water, not in the ocean, which is a little bit different. I think that's an added benefit because of the pollution. That's one of the reasons I'm not a big fan of omegas in particular from the ocean, like fish oil pills. Not a big fan because of the hard metals in the ocean, because of the pollution. Like fish, for example, most fish have some types of hard metals in it. You have to detox in different ways. We can talk about that in another show. But if you're having fish products, like any type of fish products, I would suggest having chlorella on a regular basis, which will help detox what shouldn't necessarily be going in our body. But when you're looking at vitamins in particular, over 40 vitamins and minerals in spirulina alone, and then we match that up with chlorella as well for detoxing benefits, which I'll talk about at another time. But I just think there's so much value of having a product that's one single ingredient, that's organic, freshwater grown, and has unlimited health benefits, which will help improve your mental function, our cognitive function, mental clarity, focus, etc. We have 5 tabs of these first thing in the morning, and then that goes with our other concoction of the vitamins, and then I have 5 of these again in the early afternoon. That might be a lot. That might sound like a lot to a lot of people. You don't have to have that many. A single dose, I would suggest, would be 5 tabs. If you really want to start off with 2 or 3, that's okay. Like 2 or 3 tabs. They're not capsules. They're not like, try not to think of these as pharmaceuticals or like, I'm going to take 2 caps a day, or only when. So you can, for example, because these are high in antioxidants, they have fiber, you could consider replacing them. Like if you're not going to have a plate of veggies, you can have your spirulina tabs. You can consider that, but that's not to say I'm telling you that you shouldn't have veggies. I don't think you can out supplement a bad diet, but these are food grade. Like these are actually food, and these are all blue-green algae. And this is a huge industry in the East. I really like Eastern medicine and Eastern like Ayurvedic type of living. There's they're just newer to the West, and I think they're becoming more well known. Like, a lot of people know that I've heard of spirulina. They know it's a superfood. They've considered it or tried it. A lot of spirulina out there is powder, and I didn't want to go with powder because of I feel like it's limiting to those that don't have like a shake or a smoothie, or I don't know, what else would you put that in? You could find flavored, like they used to sell us, when we were researching this, we would try different powders, and every once in a while a company will ask me to sell their product, and then they'll send me a greens powder, and it's like it's gritty, it doesn't mix well, it doesn't taste good. The ingredients are almost never clean. They always have some kind of nonsense in there that I wouldn't approve of. And then at the bottom of the glass, there's always like grit, and it's like almost like the powder you're choking on in the last sip. So that was never appealing to me when we got into greens. So that's why we went with tabs. And these are cold pressed. They're not heated. Again, so many benefits, but we take these when we travel. I have a tin of these in my car. I take them with me everywhere. I have some at the office, obviously. We have some at our home. But anytime we travel, you don't have to worry about a powder. You just take a little package of these greens, and then you don't know, right? You don't always know when you're going to have a salad or a green smoothie or a shake. So while you're traveling, while you're bouncing around, whether that's hotels or restaurants, you take your greens with you. They can always offer a boost of energy in different ways, and making sure you're getting your extra vitamins and minerals that you need, which you could consider a multivitamin, which is basically what we use them for. So that's going to wrap it up. Hopefully that was helpful. Apologies for the tech issues. If you guys have any questions, let me know. You can find these products at trueformlife.com. And I think I should talk about something else in the future. These usually go over pretty well when I talk about our supplements on a live. I'm not sure why I don't do it more often. I feel like I don't want it to sound so salesy that we're always in your face trying to get you to buy products, but it's completely up to you. Make sure you're reading ingredients, paying attention to the source, find ethical places to get your products and services. Whatever you guys want to do, we're here for you. We're happy to help and offer you quality services and products and information. So hope you enjoy it. Have a great day, everyone.